Funny guy, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Best.
I'm going to take a cab to the other end.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me.
Excuse me. Could you take a picture of our women?
When the sun will
They're from Hiroshima. This one is. No, yours. Mine. Mine is from Hiroshima. What's the Japanese one?
I won't cry.
Mine.
Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Whenever we're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Oh, Anthony Donovan! Just as long as you stand by me. So stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand. Won't you stand by me?
How are you? Sorry about that. Giving them a few bucks. You're right. Absolutely. I think so too. So what are we doing? Right. Veterans for Peace. Yeah, and there are various activities. No, it's a message from Hiroshima. They made the ribbon themselves. You have a card. Where are you from?
Did you get one? Did you like a peace crane? They're symbols of peace. Did you like a peace crane or symbols of peace? Okay? Oh, no, it's a symbol of peace. For the world, a world symbol of peace. You all got one, right?
Five more times, but this time, since this is the day of week of the August 5, August 6, and August 9 of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and so we'd like to extend our loving kindness and feeling of respect to those lives who have lost in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but also during the war. And even after that, there are many experiments and everything going on. There are many people suffer from there too. So we extend our respect to those who lost their lives, and they are suffering even now too. To you all, thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce Emily McClone. She's the director of the Peace Boat US.
Yes, my name is Emily. Thank you, Mari. I'm so happy to see many organizations gathering here today to commemorate Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I work as the director of the international organization Peace Boat, which is working towards raising awareness about the dangers and the humanitarian consequences of nuclear weapons through our Hibakusha project. In 2008, we started to invite survivors from Hiroshima and Nagasaki to travel with us around the world and give their testimonies towards a nuclear-free world. We also recently participated in the conference at the United Nations to discuss the nuclear ban treaty, which was adopted this year, which is very exciting for all of us to at least have this momentous moment here with the Hibakusha that are present. So I'd like to read a short statement from Peace Boat that developing the nuclear weapons ban treaty is a historic enterprise. Nearly 72 years have passed since the use of nuclear weapons on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Today, the average age of the survivors, or hibakusha, those who have directly experienced the catastrophic humanitarian consequences, exceeds 80 years. The time for this treaty to be negotiated must be a robust treaty that establishes an unequivocal and unconditional norm against nuclear weapons on high moral grounds, and categorically criminalizes nuclear weapons without exceptions. Thus, we have the major tasks ahead, therefore including, on one hand, developing a robust treaty to prohibit nuclear weapons in unambiguous terms, and on the other, creating mechanisms to allow the future accession by nuclear-armed states and nuclear-dependent states, such as Japan and the United States, so as to engage those states in the process after the establishment of the treaty. We look forward to collaborating with all of you and urge the Japanese government to, in a timely fashion, sign on to the legislative process so that they can sign and ratify the treaty soon, as it is adopted by the UN once it's announced in September. And we promise to keep raising our voices to press the government
So I just want. Thank you very much for that. And, I just wanted to mention tomorrow, the August 8th is actually August 6th in Japan, and then I've been organizing the peace ceremony actually 2 blocks from here, the Saint Bas Church, Saint Bartholomew Church. Tomorrow from 5 o'clock to 7:30. I don't have enough flyer, so maybe if you like to take a photo, you can take a photo from here. But I would like to invite all of you to join us. So I would like to again cordially invite to join us. And that's a big church, so we have a lot of space. So please join us. Thank you so much. 5 to 7:30, 5 o'clock. Yeah, same bird.
On what day?
Tomorrow. Tomorrow, the Saturday, the August 5.
Thank you.
And then August 5, 7:15 p.m. on August 5 is equivalent to 8:15 a.m. of August 6 in Japan. So
Thank you.
Just a supplement explanation. There is one hibakusha A-bomb survivor who lives upstate New York, and she's coming all the way to attend his event tomorrow. And she's going to testify her experience when she was 13. And also upstairs at the 18th floor Japanese consulate, there is a kamishibai, which is a paper play, a traditional Japanese paper play, which is designed by Japanese artists based on the experience of Mr. Tomiko West, Morimoto West. She was 13 at the time when the atomic bomb dropped in Hiroshima. So after this event, if you are interested in seeing the paper play, please go upstairs. You will have to show your photo ID, but it's located in a public space inside the Japanese consulate, and that will be available for viewing until August 24th. Yes, thank you so much. So next we're going to invite other representatives or co-sponsors of today's event. Please introduce yourself and your organization.
Hi everyone, I'm Kate Alexander with Peace Action New York State. I'm here today because there was a promise that was made by the US to the Japanese people, but really to all people who have been suffering the effects of armed conflict and prolonged US militarization of the world, which was never again. And no president, no administration, no generation has the right to question that promise or to threaten it. But that's what we're seeing today. As long as these weapons exist, US, Russia, North Korea are going to be locked into patterns of aggression that threaten the absolute worst. And it's because these weapons are here. And the rest of the world has led at this UN conference to negotiate a ban on nuclear weapons. And they've shown us that there is another path. That despite all calls for war, all calls for aggression, there is another option, and the rest of the world is waiting for us to join them. That option is this ban treaty. That option is this treaty that says you cannot threat to use, you cannot transfer nuclear weapons. To do so is a threat to humanity in its most purest form. And as a young anti-nuclear activist, as a young peace activist who works with others, those threats are for our entire future. We face the twin threats of nuclear weapons and climate change, and politicians who will do anything to secure an outdated relic of power that is military weapons. That is not a kind of power that speaks to my generation at all, and in fact it's a kind of power that endangers us beyond what we can imagine. Our generation is going to be indebted because of nuclear weapons, because of war, to the people of the rest of the world for our continue to suffer the damages of these weapons and their use. And for that, we're sorry. And for that, young people today will feel the scars for the rest of their lives too.
Thank you so much.
My name is Rosemary Pace, and I'm from Pax Christi, Metro, New York. And first I want to thank Mari and Rachel for bringing us together, I think for at least the third year, if not more than that now. This has grown, and it is a wonderful witness for all of us to say to the Japanese, as Americans, we are sorry for what our country did and what our country persists in continuing. Upgrading nuclear weapons, refusing to be part of the conference at the UN to ban nuclear weapons. We appreciate the letter that someone else will be telling you more about, but that not only apologizes, but reinforces the need for this treaty, this new treaty to ban nuclear weapons to be ratified and to get the nuclear states to stop protesting and opposing and to start supporting nuclear abolition. My organization is the Catholic Peace Movement, and I'm at least proud to say that the Catholic Church has been opposed to nuclear weapons from the start, and that I think for the very first time was able to vote at the UN, and so they are one of the 122 nations that supported this treaty. I invite all of you, although space is limited, but whoever can come, I've been passing out a flyer for our Hiroshima Nagasaki Memorial on Sunday. And if you didn't get one, I only have a couple more left, but I have a couple more flyers for Sunday's event at 2:30 down in Greenwich Village, 20 Washington Square North. Part of it will be a speaking presentation by Jonathan Granoff, very strong in his anti-nuclear work. And part of it will be another public witness. We'll be walking to Father Demo Park, a little kind of triangle in Greenwich Village. So if you can, join us for all or part of that. Thank you.
My name is Viney Burrows, but my name is not important. What is important is the fact that all of us here are again. And one of the reasons we are here is not only to commemorate the atrocity that was committed 72 years ago, but to make certain that it does not happen again. All of the organizations that are here are fighting diligently and with great diligence and energy, join their forces to make the prohibition of nuclear weapons in the world a reality. A reality. No nuclear weapons.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well said. Well said.
My name is Catherine Skopnik. I'm co-chair of Shut Down Indian Point Now, which is going to be closed. Yay!
Way to go, way to go.
Great. And I'm also with Sierra Club and People's Club in New York. And I want to share with you one of my most treasured items, and that is this garland. This garland was made by a habakasha. And a habakasha is someone who lived in Hiroshima or Nagasaki during the dropping of the bomb. And when this habakasha presented me with this garland, tears were coming from my eyes, because in his eyes I could see the pain and the suffering that the people endured. Yet he had hope and joy and thankfulness for the fact that we were there working to prevent this atrocity from ever happening again. I thank you all for being here. You know the importance of this as we continue to make the end of nuclear weapons and nuclear power an end forever. Thank you.
First, I want to acknowledge that one of the great actresses for peace has just given you a message, and that is Bonnie Burroughs. She's 93. She's still acting in Midsummer Night Dream in Delacorte Theater, and has constantly, all her life, devoted herself to peace. I think we have to acknowledge Bonnie, one of our great actors. My name is Shirley Chesney, and in 1945, I was 15. I'm 87 years old. And at that time, I knew something horrendous had happened in the world, and I hoped that it would never happen to anyone ever again. But we see all kinds of hatred going on right now, and not peace and love, which we hoped would be the message that came after a horrendous century of war. First World War, Second World War, Korean War, Bosnian War, Croatia, and all the money going to weapons, and all the young people that died needlessly. Still, the people of our city experience terrible racism. The people of Japan still experience terrible racism. There's hatred unleashed at China, not understanding that the Chinese people, the Japanese people, the Syrians, the Muslims, all yearn for peace too. So please, if you are coming to the other demonstrations, find somebody from the immigrant community. Go up to Harlem and tell the people to come, because banning the bomb is everybody's business now. We have to get the message out that the media has silenced, that we have a treaty. A big thing happened on July 7th, and only a tiny squib in the New York Times and the Guardian reported this. Nothing on CNN, nothing on MSNBC. Constant talk about emails and cyberspace. So my last work was to go to the Bolshoi Ballet and tell the ballet dancers that we love the Russian people, and they are great artists. And I gave them a package of literature prepared by Wilf and by Peace Action and all the others. And I asked the lead dancer, a great dancer from the Bolshoi, what would you like? He said, I want a t-shirt that says, I love New York. So we had a black t-shirt, we did it with white out. We found 2 hats that said New York. We gave him cherries and peace cookies and sent them on their way back to Moscow. I don't know if Mr. Putin will get the message, but we have to try to reach out to all the peoples everywhere that we all together can ban the bomb forever.
Next speaker is Ribbon International.
Yes. Part of the Peace Art Project, Ribbon International. 15 miles of these went around the Pentagon in 1985. The original theme was what I cannot bear to think of as lost forever in a nuclear war. They've been made all over the world. People use them they join them together for interfaith events, for nuclear disarmament events, for peace events, for care of the environment. And anybody can join the Ribbon Project. We have a website, theribboninternational.org, and please join us. And anytime you hear an event of a peace event, bring your ribbon, join them together.
Thank you so much. So next we are going to have a speech from the Veterans for Peace.
Good morning. My name is Susan Schnall. I'm currently president of Veterans for Peace. As you know, and as we hear every day, every time the Orange Man speaks, there's veteran banners in the audience. So let me just remind all of you and all of us that there's an organization called Veterans for Peace. Yes. We have been to war. We have seen what bombs have been we are fighting. And we're here to say it is time to stop. My goodness, with all of the threats and all of these conflicts, from the White House to every place else on earth, we say today, at the beginning of the anniversary of the worst destruction that has been known to the world, that was caused by the United States, we say it's time to stop. So join with us. I am sorry that I'm going to be reading part of the letter that was written to the Japanese consulate. It is being handed by Dr. Tom Facey from Veterans for Peace upstairs right now. We represent a coalition of peace organizations and citizens of the United States advocating the importance of abolishing nuclear weapons throughout the world. We are working for a peaceful world. We represent a coalition of concerned peace organizations and citizens of the United States advocating for the importance of abolishing nuclear weapons throughout the world. We want a peaceful world. We are gathered here in front of the Consulate General of Japan in New York with a bouquet of flowers to express our sincere regrets and our apologies as citizens of this country that created this destruction and this death for the bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. War crimes and crimes against humanity, even though our government has never apologized. We wish to extend our deep condolences and apology to the atomic bomb survivors who have endured great mental and physical hardships for over 7 decades as a result of these horrific bombings. And today, we appeal to Japan to play a leadership role in supporting and promoting the treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons that was adopted by the United Nations on July 7, 2017. with overwhelming support from 122 member states. It clearly states the prohibition from developing, testing, producing, manufacturing, transferring, possessing, stockpiling, using, or threatening to use nuclear weapons. We urge that the Japanese government act in a timely fashion to complete the domestic legislative process so that Japan can sign and ratify the treaty soon after it opens for signature at the United Nations in New York in September. We need 50 states to sign this treaty. It will then become international law. After more than 7 decades of nuclear deterrence policy, global consensus agrees that the world continues to become more dangerous. 122 member states clearly showed common ground that peace cannot be achieved with the existence of nuclear weapons. We promise to keep raising our voices to press our own government to call for signing and ratifying the treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons. Agreeing to begin to remove all the existing nuclear weapons from operational status and destroy them in accordance with this international document. In addition, we are deeply troubled by the security implications of Japan's stockpile of 48 tons of separated plutonium in conjunction with the start out of the Rokasho reprocessing plant, scheduled for late 2018. It will have an estimated capacity to separate an additional 8 tons of plutonium annually. Such a large stockpile of separated plutonium is a proliferation threat as well as a possible target for nuclear terrorism. This could become a grave environmental disaster if another nuclear accident happens. The reprocessing of spent nuclear fuel requires excessive costs. It has serious environmental concerns and safety risks to workers and local citizens, as we have seen at the Hanford nuclear site in the United States. On July 17, 2018, the U.S.-Japan Nuclear Energy Cooperation Agreement will mature. It will be automatically extended unless either the United States or Japan notifies the other country 6 months prior to termination. We are deeply worried about the extending of this agreement and its impact on the security of the Northeast Asian region and the rest of the world. Instead of extending the U.S.-Japan Nuclear Energy Cooperation Agreement, we propose the United States and Japan jointly cooperate to 1, discuss alternative energy policies, 2, implement nuclear-free policies, 3, review issues associated with Japan's existing stockpile of 48 tons of separated plutonium, and analyze ways to store them safely and securely with independent third-party experts and all stakeholders, including those whose lands and waters are at risk. 4, conduct risk assessment and comprehensive reviews on reprocessing spent fuel in Japan. And 5, supply and exchange information and technology on how to contain and monitor Japan's plutonium stockpile and radioactive waste materials from nuclear facilities and nuclear accidents in order to keep them out of the food, water, air, and land of local citizens for generations. Victimized by the use of atomic bombs, Japan has also been a victim of the world's worst nuclear power plant since Chernobyl, suffering from massive radiation leaks that have spread well into the Pacific Ocean. The evacuation of more than 150,000 people, most of whom have still not been able to return to their homes. There's been a rise also in thyroid cancer among children. So we continue to see the impact of the use of the atomic bombs generation after generation. The use of nuclear technology, whether military or civilian, comes with enormous risks and incalculable effective nuclear disarmament will not be possible as long as we allow Finally, Japan, your constitution has an inspiring introduction clause which recognizes, quote, that all peoples have the right to live in peace, free from fear and want. Japan has learned the benefits of a strong culture of peace, while the United States increasingly moves towards establishing ever more its economy of war. Article 9 of your peace constitution is more powerful and honorable than the possession of nuclear weapons. It is more persuasive than the policy of nuclear deterrence or reliance on a nuclear umbrella. Thus, our coalition calls on Japan to protect its peace constitution, discard its military reliance on the United States nuclear umbrella, and say no to the extension of the U.S.-Japan Energy Cooperation Agreement in order to build a more humane and safer world, one free from the terror and fear of nuclear weapons. So please, everybody, join with me in no more Hiroshimas, no more Hiroshimas, and no more Nagasaki, no more Nagasaki, no more war, no more war. Thank you all.
I've been here the last few years, and it seems like it grows every year. And it's so meaningful this year because of the nuclear weapons ban. And there's hope in the air that we're going to find a crack and break this nuclear weapons regime down. That's what I'm hoping. And I have my friend Jim is in Hiroshima right now, Jim Anderson. Did you know that Jim Anderson, President of Peace Action New York State, he is at an international conference of the GenSuico, the anti-nuclear weapons peace group.
So you could explain why he's not here.
It's not, well, he lives in Buffalo, and I saw some pictures of him. And it's such an amazing experience to actually learn from the Japanese how they have organized for the last 70 plus years to try to, 72 years to really get the message across that we can't have any more of these weapons.
So while we wait, we are going to hear some songs like Raging Granny.
We are from we must stop its global spread for the peoples of the whole to live fear and dread. We must all tell all the nations
choir of freedom. It's the choir of love.
Since we have 4 representatives back from upstairs, we'd like to have a speech from them. First, we'd like to have a moment with the Veterans for Peace. Please.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So it is my honor that I was given the opportunity to speak in front of you today. I would like to express my deepest respect and appreciation for all of you who choose to be here at this occasion. 私はこれから述べるような被爆者を身内に持つ一人の日本市民としてこの場を見届けに参りました。
Today, I came here in order to witness this event as a Japanese citizen who has some Hibakusha family members.
私は曽祖父と叔父を広島の原爆で亡くし、祖父母は入試被爆しました。
My great-grandfather and my uncle were killed by the atomic bomb in Hiroshima. My grandparents, who went there soon after the bombing, also happened to expose themselves to radiation.
1945年8月6日のあの日、曽祖父は地元の新聞社の国民義勇隊として建物疎開作業に動員されていました。曽祖父はその日は本来であれば出動しなくても良い日でしたが、病気で出動できない同僚の代わりに同僚の代わりに出動することになり、原爆に遭いました。作業地が爆心地近くだったため遺骨も見つかってません。
That day, August 6, 1945, my great-grandfather, who used to work at the local newspaper company, was taken for building removal. This consisted of tearing down buildings in order to prevent fire from spreading in the event of air raids. My great-grandfather wasn't actually supposed to go out to work that day, but a colleague of his had fallen sick, so my great-grandfather was chosen to go there on his behalf. Because of this, he was caught up in the atomic bombing. As he was so close to the hypocenter, they were never able to find his remains at all.
祖母は実の父である曽祖父を探しにあの日の翌日、疎開先の広島県郊外から広島市内に入り、入試被爆しました。雷が鳴っただけで怖がる祖母だったので、曽祖父を探す道中でどれだけ壮絶な思いをしたか知りませんが、最後まで原爆のことは何も話さず亡くなりました。ですが毎年8月6日の8時15分には水を備えておえつしながら手を合わせていた祖母の姿をよく覚えています。
The next day, my grandmother, who had evacuated to a suburb of the same prefecture, went into the city in order to look for her father, my great-grandfather. Thus, she exposed herself to radioactive particles. For a woman who had always been frightened at the sound of thunder, the horrific scenes that she witnessed on the way to the city center must have been beyond imagining. She passed away without ever talking to me about the atomic bombing.
I clearly remember that every August 6th at 8:15 in the morning, she would make an offering of water, then put her hands together in front of the altar and weep.
叔父は当時中学生で、あの日はやはり建物疎開作業に学徒動員されていました。班長だったのに遅刻してしまい、建物の裏で教師に叱られていた時に原爆にあったため、建物の陰になってなんとか助かりました。ですが作業を始めていた同級生は野外で直接原爆に遭い、ほぼ全滅でした。叔父は晩年犠牲となった同級生の遺族を訪ねて全国を行脚していましたが、68歳で原爆症を発症し、71歳で亡くなりました。
My uncle, who was only a middle school student at that time, was also taken to work on building removal as a member of the student mobilization program. Even though he was a team leader, he had shown up late for the program. So his teacher brought him to the area behind the building and scolded him. This was the moment when the bomb exploded. My uncle was shielded by the building and somehow managed to survive, whereas the rest of the students working out in the open air were almost all killed by the bomb. Later in his life, my uncle traveled across Japan, visiting the families of the students. Then, when he was 68, he developed the symptoms of radiation sickness and passed away at the age of 71.
そして私は5歳の時、祖母と母に手を引かれ、初めて広島の原爆資料館を訪れた時のことが忘れられません。熱線で焼けただれ、顔も体もぐちゃぐちゃになって死んでいった人たちの写真を見ながら、母はあんたのひいおじいちゃんもこんな風に死んでいったんよと言いました。私はその夜から明かりを消して眠れなくなりました。その後もこのようなトラウマ的な感情を40年間抱き続けることになりましたが、この感情には何か人間的な意味があるはずだという思いだけは強くありました。その思いから現在は社会学者として原爆体験の継承、特に非被爆者にとっての原爆という経験の人間的社会的意味について調査研究をしています。
My first visit to Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum was when I was 5 years old, taken by my grandmother and my mother. It was so shocking that I cannot forget that day. As we were looking at the pictures of dead people whose faces and bodies were totally burnt and unidentifiable, my mother told me, "Look, your great-grandmother died suffering like that." After that, I couldn't sleep with the lights off. The next 40 years, the same traumatic feeling followed me around. However, I can't help but feel that there is something very human and meaningful about that feeling. Because of this, I became a sociologist and have been studying the process of passing on and conveying atomic bomb experiences to the post-war generations, especially focusing on the human and social meanings and impact of these experiences on non-被爆者.
そういう一人の日本市民としてこの書簡に書いてあることには深く共感しますし、これをアメリカ市民の人たちが書き、亡くなった被爆者の方たちへの慰霊の花束を捧げてくださるということに感銘を受けます。
As a Japanese citizen with this background, I empathized with this letter written by U.S. citizens who send their condolences and a bouquet of flowers to the hibakusha, which is very touching.
なぜならば、原爆や核兵器が一人一人の人間に何をもたらしたのか、もたらすのか、キノコ雲の上の論理ではなく、キノコ雲の下で何が起こっていたのか、 何が起こってきたのかという最も根本的なところを現実的に見据えるがゆえのメッセージであると思うからです。
What is so moving to me is the fact that I am witnessing you focusing on what happened under the mushroom cloud, not above it. In other words, you are seeking a very fundamental and genuine message about what nuclear weapons have brought and will bring to each and every human being.
そこには国家を超えた一人一人の生身の人間の普遍的な感情と願いと決意が表されていると思います。
Here, I see hope, determination, and universal sentiments that we all share as fellow human beings and which transit national borders.
この絵を見てください。これは広島市立元町高校の高校生たちが被爆者の原爆体験を1対1で何度も何度も聞いて半年の時間をかけて描いた原爆の絵の一部です。
Let me show you these pictures drawn by students of Hiroshima City Motomachi High School who spent half a year listening to a single Hibakusha partner's story over and over again. This is only a part of the project.
私はこの取り組みを7年間追いかけていますが、そこには原爆体験者、非体験者という違いを超えた、そして世代を超えた生身の人間の普遍的な感情と願いと決意が表されていると感じます。それを大切にできなくなったら人間社会の未来にはもう希望はないでしょう。それを何よりも大切にし、共に育んでいきたいと思います。
Studying this project for 7 years, I have been sensing these universal sentiments of hope and determination in all kinds of people, and they overcome generational differences and the differences between Hibakusha and non-Hibakusha. If one day we all stopped cherishing these common universal feelings and values shared by all human beings, that will be the day when there was no more hope left for the future. Therefore, I would like to honor and encourage these universal feelings, and I hope that you will do the same.
2017年8月4日、ニューヨーク日本国総領事館にて小倉康嗣。
August 4th, 2017, Yasutsugu Ogura at the Consulate General of Japan in New York.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much. Now we'd like to hear a brief report from each members who went upstairs. Who would you like to start first?
はい。
I said to myself,
yes, so
That's very nice.
my name is Dr. Tom Fazy. I'm a member of the New York City chapter of Veterans for Peace. And I was part of the 4-person delegation that was received by the consul upstairs. So we were very interested to learn that actually the consul, Mr. Yamamoto, is from Hiroshima. And he, was very receptive and engaged in our conversations. So there were presentations of various artistic work, and it was a moving experience. So thank you.
Thank you. Sister Gwen?
Ready here?
I'm Sister Gwendolyn Huffle, and this is my third year to be privileged to join this demonstration and this visit with the Council of Japan. I am part of it because I was invited, having returned from 50 years of living in Japan, teaching in Japan, and being active in relation to anti-nuclear efforts, the efforts to protect, to save Article 9 of the Japanese Constitution that is now under siege very, very powerfully. And coming to this group has been a great joy and privilege, feeling as just one powerless individual to join up with others of like mind, wanting to protect the peoples of our whole world from nuclear power. I left Japan at the time in 2014, so 3 years after March 11th earthquake and disaster, and where I had gone volunteering, and it's been very hard to leave my sisters, my friends, everybody up there struggling, still being with the people, showing how unnecessary, how unwanted nuclear power, nuclear energy is. Today at the meeting, I've been very, very struck, very impressed, very touched, particularly by the stories of Ms. Tanaka and Mr. Ogura and their artwork that they brought. And it brought home the importance of the personal story, the personal individual involvement. We have to do this because we know the powers that be are not on the same page to really bring peace to the world for all peoples. I will stop there because Ms. Tanaka needs to talk, and it's been a long morning. We were given a whole hour this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Yasuo Tanaka, and I'm part of the Manhattan Project, and also artist and educator. So today, thank you for everybody, and also it was very special story about the high school student wrote up drawing about the picture and stuff, and I was very happy. And I was talking about this book called Hadashi no Gen. Yeah, I think many Japanese people knows about this book, and I wanted to share about this book. I was reading for the on time Shonen Jump, and they are, showing this magazines, and I was crying, and I couldn't stop crying, and even I cannot see the image. I just wanted to read, and I wanted to know about this stuff. So I kind of feel like a high school student, how they felt and how I felt. It's kind of like imagination to think about others and my family and another families, So I talking about also my country and my prefecture and my hometown. It's part of the nuclear disposal place. The government told us to be a candidate for the Yaita city and also Shioyamachi. So my town people start doing for the thyroid cancer for their group, and now Shio town start doing the thyroid cancer testing. And I heard this is the children testing, but I heard many adults also have thyroid cancers. Actually, my father this year find out the thyroid cancers, and this month he gonna surgery.
So this is like my personal story, but also others' story. So I talking about this stuff, and I really, and also in New York, I started testing the many places for the Geiger counter, and some of them places are very high, radioactive, and even like the same thing like Fukushima. So, and my apartment in Harlem is like same thing like my hometown. So New York is not safe. It's also, everywhere it's, it's not safe. So I made some artwork called All Things Are Linked, Hotspot, and I showed upstairs, and this is, I made the paper crane for the, using the world map, and I put the blank white emboss map for the world, and I put the where is nuclear bomb, they drop it, and also uranium mine, and also nuclear weapons they're using, and also accident for the nuclear plants. So if you see that this map and this work, it's all the world is contaminated. So I think we're gonna fight about the, demolish the nuclear, weapon, and try to, working for the peace. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Yasuyo. So we'd like to close today's event. I hope we were able to inspire us and also other people in giving them opportunity what we can do as non-Hibakusha so that we will be able to send the message of Hibakusha to the younger generation so that same mistake will not happen again. So please continue to reach out to your governments, Japanese government and the US government, so that once the signature of the Treaty on Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons will be available in September, they will sign and ratify. So please continue our work, and thank you so much for coming. Thank you.